Hello, I am Jenna Ryan. Welcome to Self Love You. I'm just going to do this quick video and I want to share with you, I want to talk about practical ways to love yourself. And so this is a very practical video where I'm going to tell you practically how to love yourself more. What we're going to talk about is boundaries and setting your boundaries and keeping them. And the most important part of this video is that nothing can be more important to you than your dignity and your boundaries. Nothing. And if you are someone who is used to people pleasing and who feels obligated and who is constantly being disrespected in life, then it means that you don't have good boundaries. And chances are that you were taught not to have good boundaries from childhood, either through being abused or for somebody not recognizing your truth. A lot of people were raised, like in my environment, it was like a dictatorship. I wasn't allowed to feel unless someone gave me permission. I certainly wasn't allowed to say no. And so I was taught, in order to be a good girl, in order to win love and get attention and get affection and things from people in my life, I was taught that I had to never say no and always make everyone around me happy. And this is a problem when you get into adulthood, because then you end up feeling guilty if you say no or if you're not making other people happy. You feel like you've done something wrong. Well, that's not true. You are not responsible for making everyone happy. In fact, when you try to, you end up being disrespected, and it hurts a lot worse than anything. So it's very important that we remember who we are and that we learn that it is so important that we keep our ego strength, that we stay strong. And you need to consider your boundaries are the most important thing. Okay? And so what's going to happen is when you set boundaries, when you just start learning to set boundaries, you're going to come up against situations where you get to choose. I can either choose myself and self-respect, or I can go on and have fun. A lot of times you're in situations where you have to make a decision between going with the flow, not rocking the boat, or continuing to have fun, or to protect yourself and maintain your dignity and self-respect. And what I mean by this is you have got to be so connected and so absolutely honoring of your truth and your need to be respected in every instance. Not to a weird extent, but just basic respect. You have got to be so serious about that you can walk away from any situation, no matter how much fun you're having or how good it might be. And what I mean by that, again, is if you have to love yourself more than sex. You have to love yourself more than the party that you may be going to. You have to love yourself more than the good time you may be having. You may have to stop a great conversation that you really, really enjoy. You may have to stop it in order to set a boundary and walk away. You may have to do that. You may have to walk away from a conversation with somebody you adore if you are not being respected properly, or if you need to set a boundary and walk away. So you've got to be prepared at any moment in time, to set a boundary and walk away if that is what is called for. And you've got to also understand when that is called for and when it's not called for, because there are different instances when it's most important that you walk away. For example, if you have someone who is not treating you respectfully, and how do you know? How do you know if they're not treating you respectfully? Well, you feel it because you become in touch with your intuition, and you just know, this doesn't feel respectful, and I don't like it. What this person just said to me, it bashed my truth, and they have no clue what they're talking about, and I'm not going to just let this go on and act like it's not happening. You've got to stop it. You've got to nip it in the bud. And sometimes you can set a boundary and just move on with the conversation and continue to have a good time. But there are other times where that is not the best thing to do. There are other times where you really have to shut it down and walk away from the good time or the good conversation, from the good boyfriend, from the good girlfriend, from having sex, from going on that great date, anything. Nothing can take precedence. Nothing can be prioritized over your dignity. You have got to be respected in all accounts, because you may give up your dignity, you may be disrespected and be able to have a good time, but at the end of the day, it's going to come back to haunt you, because disrespecting yourself is never a good idea. And that is exactly what you're doing if you continue on with the conversation in which you're being disrespected without shutting down the conversation, setting a boundary, explaining you don't like that, and then maybe walking away. I don't care what happens, you have got to stand firm. You've got to have strong boundaries. You've got to have a strong line in the sand. You've got to have good ego strength. If you want to live a healthy, fulfilling life and have healthy relationships that are equal, where you are fulfilled and treated properly, also, when you keep your boundaries intact no matter what, even if, it's a movie star who is breaking your boundaries, busting your boundaries, violating your boundaries, you have got to be able to walk away. If it's at work, no matter what, you always must assert yourself, or you're going to be walked over and you're going to regret it. And you may save yourself a little bit of fun, but at the end of the day, the people who you allow to walk over you that way, and you don't stop from walking over you, they may not mean to do it. It may be subconscious, but at the end of the day, they're not going to respect you, and it's just going to get worse. So if you have a boyfriend who is treating you disrespectfully, have the strength within yourself, believe in yourself enough, and believe in your dignity. Hold your dignity. Don't give yourself away. That's what giving yourself away is all about. Is you give yourself away by enjoying a good time, by enjoying their company, but allowing little instances of disrespect to occur. You've got to be willing to walk away anytime you are disrespected for any reason. Whenever we're disrespected, we may think it's not a big deal, but the fact is that it harms our self-esteem. We allow other people to roll over us, to run over us, to bulldoze over us, when our heart when we have a gut feeling that we're being disrespected, and we do not put a stop to it, and we go on with whatever it is so that we don't rock the boat, so that we don't make anybody upset, so we can keep the fun going. Don't keep the fun going. You need to take a stand. Take a stand. We all need to take a stand and stick to your guns. And if you say no, that means no. And if you want a boyfriend who treats you in a certain way and he treats you in a way that is less than that way, then you need to say I'm sorry and walk away, because you, my friend, are more important than anyone else when it comes to relating. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. It's not selfish for you to be concerned about your own dignity. You may have been taught that, but the fact is that if you do not maintain concern for your own self, nobody else will, and you're not even a self. You are codependent. It means that you're not even a full person if you are not able to stand up for your dignity in any situation, no matter how much fun you're having, no matter how much fun you stand to lose. If you stand up and make a stand for yourself, you've got to do it. And that, once you're able to do that, I think that is a beautiful place to be, because you may not have fun for the rest of the night or the rest of the day, or you may not be able to continue that conversation that you were so enjoying. But let me just tell you, you'll be able to look yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the eye, feel in your heart and go, you know what? I may not be able to have fun today, but I sure do respect myself. And I sure am glad that I stuck to my guns and I did not continue something that was degrading or devaluing or disrespectful to me. And thank you very much. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm Jenna Ryan with Self Love You. Talk to you soon.